Every night at 11:17 p.m., she stood there motionless, staring, waiting. I thought she was just another late-night commuter, the kind you see waiting for the last bus home after a shift at the hospital or a night out with friends. But the truth was far more sinister. I had taken the same bus route home from work for years. It was an express that cut through the quiet suburbs, the windows tinted so you couldn't see inside. As the city fell silent, the bus rumbled along, its engine purring like a restless cat. At the second-to-last stop, I always got a window seat and watched the world go by. But there was one constant that unsettled me. Every night at the same time, I saw her. She was a woman dressed entirely in black. No matter the weather, she wore a long coat that hid her figure, a wide-brimmed hat that concealed her face. She never boarded the bus. She never took off into the night. She just stood motionless at the bus stop, where two flickering streetlights painted her in hues of yellow and red. The bus would pull up, and I could hear the hiss of air brakes and the murmur of voices from inside the bus as people got up to let me sit down. I would watch her out of the corner of my eye, wondering what kept her there night after night. There were other commuters too, those who lived on the outskirts of town. The ones who stepped onto the bus with baskets of freshly picked vegetables or dogs by their side. They too seemed to know her, but none of them acknowledged her. Or maybe they did, but they chose not to break the silence. One night, as I sat waiting, the woman suddenly shifted her head slightly, just enough to reveal the profile of her face. Even in the dim light, I could see that she wasn't smiling. But then she turned her head back, and I was left with only questions. On particularly cold nights, wisps of my breath were the only response I got from the woman. Still, she never seemed to acknowledge my presence, though I could feel her eyes on me. One evening, as the rain poured and thunder rumbled overhead, I was the only person at the bus stop. The woman appeared, her black coat pulled tight against the wind and rain. I watched as she raised her face to the sky, and a smile crept onto her lips. But it wasn't the kind of smile that reached her eyes. And then she blinked. She turned her head, revealing her face, and I saw the emptiness in her eyes, the soulless black pits that seemed to stare into my very soul. That was when I realized I'd seen her before, in my peripheral vision, but never really noticed her. One night the bus didn't come. I waited and waited, watching the seconds tick by. The woman stood patiently beside me, her gaze fixed on the road, and then she blinked. And when I looked away for a moment, she was gone. The next day I got up early and went to the old library downtown, the one with the oak tables and the smell of aging books. I asked the librarian for local urban legends, anything about a woman who might have died at the bus stop. She led me to a worn book filled with handwritten stories, and there it was, the tale of a woman. Killed by a bus, a woman who had been waiting for a ride to escape, her abusive husband only to be met by his cruel laughter, echoing from the driver's seat of the bus that had struck her, killing her instantly. They never found her body, but people said her spirit lingered around the bus stop, waiting for a ride that would never come. People said that if you stood at the bus stop at night, you might see her standing there, watching the buses go by, never boarding one, never speaking, always alone. I didn't believe in ghosts, not until I tried to talk to her. It was a cold night, the kind where the wind bites at your skin and makes you question why you're outside. The bus stop was empty, except for me. And as I waited, I felt her presence beside me. When the bus finally arrived, I stepped off and walked slowly toward the stop. As I approached, I could feel her eyes boring into me, and I turned to face her. "You missed your bus," she whispered, her voice like the rustling of dead leaves, just like I did. Everything went black for a moment, and when I awoke, it was morning. The bus stop was deserted, the sky a pale blue, but no one remembered me. The driver I'd spoken to the night before acted as if he'd never seen me. The woman who usually stood at the stop wasn't there, and then I saw myself in the reflection of a shop window across the street. The same woman in black waiting for the bus, a ghost, tethered to a bus stop, forever searching for a ride that would never take her away. And now, she wasn't alone. Beside her stood another woman, her face hidden beneath a black umbrella.